Welcome back. In this session, we're going to dive into the core of XGENIA and focus on how to build a dynamic form that not only captures user data, but also displays it live within the application. This is a crucial skill for creating interactive, data-driven applications. We'll be working with a new tutorial called User-Created Data, so let's get started. We're now on the Create Card page. This is where the magic happens. We need to set up our form with the right UI components. The goal is to build a user interface where users can input information for a new task. Before that, let's click on the above dropdown and choose Create Card Page. To check it, you see the preview pane on the right side of the screen. Right-click on the canvas to bring up the component library. We're going to introduce a dropdown node to handle task categories. Drag and drop it onto the canvas, placing it between the task name and task description fields. Under the label section, let's enable it and change the label text to task category to give it a clear purpose. Let's give it some visual breathing room. Under margin and padding, let's set the bottom margin to 16 pixels. This is a good practice for maintaining a clean and readable UI layout. You can see the changes in the preview pane on the right side. Next, we need to populate the dropdown with data. This data will be an array of objects, with each object containing a label for display. Click the Edit button next to the item's property. Let's add our task categories: study, work, shopping, and appointment. Now, we need a way for users to select a date. For this, we'll use a date picker prefab. Head over to the Prefabs tab in the Components panel. Search for Date Picker. Once you find it, click Clone. It's now available in your project's components. Before we check in, let's change the color of the font in Create Task button first. It looks all black. Just click the button, then search for text style and click Edit. Let's choose white to contrast the background. Now let's continue. Choose the Date Picker from the Node component. Drag the new Date Picker node and place it just below our task category dropdown. Similar to the dropdown, let's configure the Date Picker's label. In the Properties panel, under Label, set the label to Task Date. And again, for a cleaner layout, set the bottom margin to 16 pixels. Now that our UI is set, we need to handle the data from these form inputs. This is where the concept of a Create New Object node comes in. This node allows us to bundle all the data from our UI components into a single, structured object. Go to the Nodes panel and search for Create New Object. Drag and drop it onto the canvas. We need to define the properties for this new object. Click the plus button to add new entries. First, a title property. Next, a category property. Then, a date property. And finally, a description property. We need to map the output of each UI component to the corresponding input of our Create New Object node. Let's start with the task name input. Drag a wire from its value output to the title input of the Create New Object node. Do the same for the task category dropdown, dragging the value output to the category input. Connect the Date Picker value output to the date input of our new object. And finally, the task description's text output to the description input of Create New Object node. So now we have a complete data object. But where does it go? We need to store it somewhere. Since we're building a dynamic application, we'll store this new object in an array. From the Nodes panel, search for Insert Object into Array. This node is designed specifically for this purpose. Drag it onto the canvas. The Insert Object into Array node needs two key inputs, the array ID and the object we want to insert. Let's specify the array ID. In the Properties panel, next to array ID, type in tasks. Then, connect the ID output of Create New Object to the object ID of Insert New Object into Array. Now, connect the done output of our Create New Object node to the object ID input of the Insert Object into Array node. This ensures that the data object is created successfully before we try to insert it. The final piece of this workflow is triggering this entire process. We want the data to be stored when the user clicks the Create Task button. Connect the click output of the Create Task button to the Do input of the Insert Object into Array node. Now, when the user clicks the button, the app will execute the sequence. Create a new object from the form data, and then insert that object into the tasks array. The last step for this page is to navigate the user back to the main task list. We'll use a navigate node for this. Connect the done output of the insert object into array node to the navigate node's input. This means once the object is successfully added, the app will navigate away. Now let's switch to the task page to see the result. We need to update this to point to the new dynamic tasks array we just created. Right-click the static array node and delete it. It's no longer needed. Now from the Nodes panel, search for the array node and drag it onto the canvas. Set its ID to tasks, matching the array we're inserting into on our Create Card page. Connect the item's output of the new array node to the item's input of the repeater node. This will dynamically populate the task list with the data from our tasks array. Now you can try your work on the preview pane on the right side. Just try to enter your task on it. Still, it doesn't look perfect, but you're a step closer to mastering XGENIA. You've learned how to create a form with a variety of input types, bundle that data into an object, store that object in a dynamic array, and then display the contents of that array on a different page. Congratulations on completing this lesson. You've just built a fundamental and reusable component of any modern application. Thanks for watching. Get XGENIA for free today at xgenia.ai and start building smarter and faster than ever.